What Jesus did in the storm was give the disciples a faith transfer. Listen. He gave the disciples a faith transfer. In the storm, the disciples realized that they had more faith in the storm and the circumstances of the storm than they had in Jesus who was with them. They had more faith in what they could see and feel than they had in the power and authority of Jesus who was with them. The disciples believed more in the power of the storm than they believed in the power of the Savior. They had more confidence in what the storm could do than they had confidence in what Jesus could do in the midst of the storm. They had more faith in the storm than they had in Jesus. How about us? When the storm hits in our lives, do we have more faith in the storm, or do we have more faith in what Jesus can do in the midst of the storm? It's not if we have faith, it's what is our faith in? Because us, church attending, Bible carrying Christians, when the storm hits, what our faith is in is revealed. Too often, our faith is in the storm and the circumstances of the storm. And so the storm is a gift from God. Can you hear it, please? The storm is a gift from God. It was a gift from God to the disciples because they experienced the true power and authority of Jesus Christ over the storm. And experiencing that transferred their faith from the storm to Jesus. It transferred what they were consumed by from being consumed by the circumstances of the storm to being consumed by the power and authority of Jesus. Get it? They had a faith transfer in response to the storm. So was it good that Jesus left them in the storm? Say yes, even if you don't wish it weren't true. It was for their good. Because we need to understand what our faith is truly in. And I promise you, these disciples will never look at a storm the same way. And they will never look at Jesus the same way because they met Jesus in the storm in a way they could not meet him any other way. And they knew him at a level in the storm that they could not know him any other way. These disciples were eternally grateful for the storm. And it wasn't their last because they learn like we do, slowly. Ultimately, by Acts chapter 2, on the day of Pentecost, these disciples had such an unshakable, immovable faith that they could no longer see the circumstances of the storm. They could only see what Jesus might be doing within the circumstances of the storm. They no longer said, we're jailed, we're beaten, we're persecuted. They said, Jesus is at work, Jesus is at work, Jesus is at work. They were still in the storm, but they never viewed the storm the same again because they met Jesus in this storm.